Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Governing Board meeting of the Lammersville Unified School District to order on Wednesday, June 18th at 7 p.m. This meeting is being live streamed and recorded, so I ask that you silence or turn off your cell phones at this time. Members of the public are welcome to address the board. If you wish to make a comment, please fill out a blue comment card located at the back of the room so we know when to call upon you. At this time, can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3, roll call, please.
Lisa Boulay.
Here.
Benita Daniel.
Here.
Samik Modi.
Here.
Stephanie Olson.
Here.
David Pombo.
Here.
Devika Vitolani.
Absent.
Item 4, approval and or corrections to the agenda.
Yes, we're going to pull action item J. The paperwork from the developer was late coming in. We weren't able to post it, so it'll be on the next board agenda.
Thank you.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Olson and a second by trustee Modi, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with 5 ayes and no nos. Item 5, committee reports. It is the end of the academic and fiscal year, so I think that we are primarily done with our committees for the year. Does anybody have anything to report from their committee? No. Okay, then we will move to item 6, governing board reports. Trustee Pombo.
Yes, on June 6th, I attended the LUSD board workshop, the staff luncheon at Mountain House High School, and the Mountain House High School ribbon cutting ceremony. On June 9th, I attended the CSBA Capital Advisors May Revise, along with President Boulay. On the 16th, I attended the LUSD special board meeting. And earlier today, I attended the groundbreaking for Pombo Elementary. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustee Olson?
Yes, on June 6th, I also attended the board workshop, staff luncheon, and ribbon cutting for Building D at Mountain House High School. And on June 11th, I attended the city council meeting and reported in my capacity as board clerk about what's happening with Lammersville Unified School District, and informally invited the city council to the groundbreaking ceremony with Dr. Nicholas's consent. And then earlier today, attended said groundbreaking ceremony. And I just want to say that I'm just really excited for all the work that our staff does so that we can keep moving along and keep our focus centered on our students and educating them extremely well. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustee Modi?
I also attended the events on June 6th, the special board meeting on June 16th, and the groundbreaking today on June 18th. I want to echo Trustee Olson's comments about the staff's work and dedication to that goes into these the planning and all the efforts that are done so that we can have groundbreaking. And I know this is just a start, and there's a lot more work that is still to come. So thank you in advance to the staff.
Thank you. Trustee Daniel?
Thank you, President. On June 6th, along with my fellow trustees, I attended the board workshop and also the ribbon cutting of the classrooms. On June 16th, I attended the special board meeting. And today, I was very happy to attend the groundbreaking of Pombo Elementary School. And I would like to wish everyone involved in the construction and in the admin process a very best and looking forward to the outcome soon. On a personal front, I would like to also share that with both my kids, my daughter graduated last weekend, so with both my kids graduated, now I felt that it's time for me to study. So I have enrolled myself into a master's program, so that's going to start in August, and that's what I have, and also a gentle reminder about I will be missing the next I will be available on the August 20th board meeting next. I will be gone for a treatment, so thank you so much for accommodating my absence and being there. Thank you.
Thank you. On August 6th, I also attended our board workshop, the staff luncheon at the high school, and the ribbon cutting ceremony for our high school edition. On June 9th, along with Trustee Pombo, I attended the May budget revise that was hosted by CSBA. And then on the 10th, I attended a webinar, an AI webinar that was hosted by CSBA. It was a very good webinar, and considering it was an AI, it wasn't over my head. I totally understood it. So I do have the recording, and I'll share it with the whole board. I meant to do that today, and today got away from me, so I apologize, but I will share that with the whole board. And then on the 16th, along with the other board members, I attended the special board meeting, and earlier today attended the Pombo Elementary School groundbreaking, and it's an exciting time for Lammersville Unified School District, and I think that I know a lot of people shared their gratefulness for all the behind-the-scenes work, but as a board member, looking at all the documents that we look at in preparation for these new facilities, it's been probably at least 12 to 18 months of very tedious, very detail-oriented work from so many people within the district, from so many departments. So I really appreciate all the hard work that our district does to make sure that we're moving forward. We have a great district, and it's only going to get better. So thank you to all of our district staff for all your hard work. Item 7, receiving of public comments. I do have one comment card. I'm going to go ahead and read the paragraph. The entire board appreciates hearing from members of the community and public at large. The board shall give members of the public an opportunity to address the board either before or during the board's consideration of each agenda item, Government Code Section 54954.3. At a time so designated on the agenda, members of the public also may bring before the board matters that are not listed on the agenda of a regular meeting. The board may refer such a matter to the superintendent or designee or take it under advisement, but shall not take action at that time. The board may place the matter on the agenda of a subsequent meeting for discussion or action. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. And at this time, I would like to welcome Laura Strickland to the podium.
Good evening, board members, educators, and community members. I am Dr. Laura Strickland, and I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. I'm here to address my concerns regarding safety and well-being of our students. I would like to specifically address the bullying and the sexual assault, which is prevalent at Lammersville Elementary School. No parent should have their student come home crying because they have been bullied and sexually assaulted and told, "Mom, I've been violated." According to Cornell School of Law, sexual assault with another person without or that exceeds the person's consent, any intentional touching of intimate parts of another person's clothed or unclothed body, including but not limited to the mouth, neck, buttocks, anus, genitalia, or breast. Any penetration, no matter how slight, of the vagina or anus with any part of the body, object or oral genital contact. There is a student who sticks his finger up student's buttocks and hits other students in the penis after being told to stop. I'm aware of several incidents of this occurring to my child and other students since the beginning of 2024. The StopBullying.gov website states, bullying is unwanted aggressive behavior among school-age children that involves a real or perceived power imbalance. The behavior is repeated or has the potential to be repeated over time. Both the kids who are bullied or who bully others may have serious, long-lasting problems. According to the LUSD's mission statement and philosophy, students should be valued, and I quote, "a right to be free from discrimination, harassment, and bullying as prohibited by law or district policy." What I have seen from the policy of LUSD is that it only encourages continued bullying and sexual assault. It is an incident, if an incident isn't caught on camera or witnesses are too scared to come forward and fear of retaliation of the bullies. Reflections are given, which tells the students that it's okay for the behavior to continue and the victims are not safe and the school can't protect them. Bullies are allowed to continue to be in leadership programs such as ASB and CJSF, which inherently tells victims that bullies are considered leaders. Why do the victims get in trouble more for defending themselves than the ones who have been assaulting them? Teachers and principals are not supported by LUC to hold individuals responsible who continue to harass their classmates. As a psychologist, I have been a witness to long-term consequences that sexual assault and bullying has on individuals. I hear of stories of how bullying and sexual assault continue to haunt individuals years after the incident. Research shows that victims of sexual nature have more problems with mental health and addiction than any other crime. I'm here today to ask you how you're going to support the principals and teachers in providing a safe environment for our children, which is part of the LUSC's mission statement and philosophies. I encourage you to investigate what other school districts do when they encounter bullying and sexual assault, like calling the police when sexual assault is reported. It's the job of the board members to give the schools what they need to keep our students safe and to support staff and with tools they need to stop this from continuously occurring. And so that our students do not become one of the statistics that have long-term ramifications.
I'm going to ask you to finish your thought. The 3 minutes is up, but go ahead and finish your final thought, please.
That negatively impact them as adults.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us and your story. I'm sorry about what's going on. We will certainly have someone from the district reach out to you. It's a tough to come to the board and share your stories, and it's a tough topic. So again, we'll have somebody reach out to you. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Item 8, consent items for consideration. Actions proposed for consent are consistent with the approved practices of the district and are deemed routine in nature. Trustees receive board agenda background information in advance of scheduled meetings and are prepared to vote with knowledge of the consent items. Item A, governing board meeting minutes from the regular meeting on June 4th and the special meeting on June 6th. Item B, contracts under $50,000. Item C, ratification of certificated and classified personnel actions. Item D, updated 2025-2026 fundraisers. Item E, ratification of 2025-2026 inter- and interdistrict transfer requests. Item F, ratification of budget revisions and warrant lists for May 2025. Would any member of the board like to pull any of the consent items for separate discussion or special consideration?
Move to approve consent items.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Pombo and a second by trustee Modi, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with 5 ayes and no noes. Madam Clerk, would you please do the honors?
I would love to. We would like to welcome the following new hires to Lammersville for the 2024-2025 school year. We welcome Howard Grothjohn, Custodian Security 3, and Yasser Torres, Elementary K through 8 Custodian 1. And then for the 2025-2026 school year, we welcome Joyce Chopra, 7th grade math science teacher, and Mary McCurdy, K through 8 physical education teacher. Welcome to the Lammersville family.
Item 9, district administrative reports. Item A, superintendent's report.
Yes, I just want a couple of quick items here. First of all, we had the Pombo Elementary School groundbreaking today. So I just wanted to remind the board and the community that it'll be a construction cycle of a little over 12 months. They will start in earnest imminently. The school will open in 2 phases, but we will be handed over what we need to start the school year in July. It'll give a chance for Jimmy and his team to stage the school, and then in October, the second half, and we've done that model. The second half of the school will be completed. So Hanson, Cordes, Costa all follow the same model. It allows the contractor to rapidly build what we need most quickly and then finish where the growth isn't. So if you notice all those houses out there will have kids that go to that school, but we don't need the full total of the school. And an example would be Costa's been open for over a year or 2 years, and it's kids who live in the College Park area is about 450 students, and the school's capacity is over 900. So just an example. And then secondly, I want to, Sarah Barrios, our Director of HR, she and her team give these swag bags at our job recruiting fair. One of the tasks the previous board gave me was put our name on the map. And one of the ways you do that is recruit talented people. We are noted for having one of the most creative tables at the job recruiting fair, which is quite a competition. And then we also want to point out that though they were most popular in the 80s, the Ray-Bans are back. And so anyone who wants our swag bag can be 80s rich. So we want to thank Sarah and her team. We have almost completely staffed for next school year. And that's a challenge for us because there's always growth. So we want to thank them for their team. And with that, Madam President, that is my presentation.
Thank you.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
And if you don't know the answer, that's okay. Is there anything notable different as every year new technology, something new comes up? Any notable differences between College Park School and Pombo Elementary in the design or the details? And if you don't know, it's
No, I can
okay.
answer that. The modern look has come to the fore of design. So the more rectangular, kind of more geometric looking buildings. Okay. There was a big debate on Hanson about the curved wall at the front of the school, and it was the board's direction to make sure that stayed curved. That's really a big difference. If you go to Altamont, that was the last one that had some, there was enough money and the market was such that you could do things like craftsman style pillars and stuff. So I think it's the cost is shrinking creativity, and so modernism has come to the fore. But in terms of technology, I can't think of anything remarkable. We have a tech sustainability plan, so we're always on it, but we still do Nova Pros, and the teachers use Surfaces, and we have the TVs, so all that remains similar. Did that answer your question?
No, perfect, thank you.
Okay.
Item B, District Maintenance and Operations Report, Director LeGrand.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. No operations report tonight. The pool has been great last 2 weeks, so knock on wood, that continues throughout the summer. As you know, we're making a transition to a new grounds company July 1st. We had a kickoff meeting last week with Thor and the members of the company. Today I did site walks with them. We walked this facility, which was a much, Wakeland, Bethany, and the high school. Next week we're going to walk the rest of the sites before July 1st. Last time I was up here, I talked about our walkie-talkies, our radios. I found a new vendor in Sacramento. I dropped out 34 of them. I'm happy to report that 20 of them are worth fixing, so that's good news for us. Save us from having to buy new radios. And they're also going to come out next week and help me with the repeater at the high school. It keeps tripping out. Something's wrong with the power supply, so they're going to come out and help me do that. Last Friday, there was a big custodial in-service at Costa. We were invited. My team went. The maintenance guys, the ground guys, we went as well. I was able to give a quick department update, facilities update to everybody. AREA operations supervisor, AREA Cano, and I set up sort of a mock interview thing where we asked employees questions, gave feedback on responses, tried to help improve their interview skills. A vendor came in and went over equipment maintenance, all the custodial equipment. It was nice to get everybody in the same room. First time we've done that all year. We had lunch. And so kudos to AREA for setting up that whole thing. The new classroom at the high school, we had our last construction meeting today. Project essentially done. Couple of things with keys, couple of things with the alarm. But the project's pretty much done. The buildings will be turned over to us next week. We're still on schedule for the furniture delivery, which is the first week of July. So summer projects. The asphalt project at Lammersville is going really well. If you've been by there, they've really been kicking butt. They have all the new paving in. They were seal coating the whole campus today. They're coming out tomorrow, start doing the striping. I anticipate they could be finished by Friday or at the very least Monday or Tuesday next week. So a little over 2 weeks or a little bit over. The roofing at Wickland, the cleaning of the roofs is done. The prepping of the roofs is almost done. So they're going to start seal coating the roofs hopefully by Friday. Okay, so that'll be done sometime next week. The third is the septic tank at Lammersville. We have to go out Monday with little sprinkler flags and tag all the sprinklers on the field, and then they're coming in Tuesday with a drill rig to take a bunch of borings around the campus, find the water table, and all the stuff was required for the environmental approvals for the new septic tank. So that's happening on Tuesday. The fourth thing was the lighting we did at Wickland. We did the multipurpose room with the 300 wing. That project's done. I walked it with the vendor yesterday. All the lighting's done. All the parts we were able to save, the maintenance guys came and grabbed them, and a lot of them went to Bethany to keep Bethany going forward. Staffing update, we have no openings, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Item 10, action items. Item A, consider approval of the 2025-2026 Local Control Accountability Plan, LCAP. Staff report.
Yes, we're going to have Assistant Superintendent Sharp come up and give a LCAP presentation. It might be familiar to you, but she's gotten really good at this.
Good evening, President Boulay, trustees, Dr. Nicholas, thank you for having me. You jinxed me. Okay, so yes, this is our 2025-26 Local Control Accountability Plan. So it is a 3-year plan. We are in year 2 of the 3-year plan. That plan covers this cradle to career, the whole child of a system of connected resources and support from the state that involves priorities that are grouped into 3 categories: conditions of learning, engagement, and student outcomes. The first category, conditions of learning, covers basic services, state standards, and course access. The second category is engagement, parental involvement, school climate, and pupil engagement. And the last category is pupil outcomes, which covers pupil outcomes and pupil engagement. So our LCAP this year did not change as far as our large goals, our primary goals. We have goal 1 of systematic closure of the opportunity gaps. Goal 2 is instruction and curriculum efficacy, and goal 3 is 21st century outcomes and stakeholder communication. So tonight I'm going to go over a review of our plan and then any changes that were made as a part of our review. Goal 1, systematic closure of the opportunity gaps, is our goal is to graduate our students college and career ready with the 21st century skills of communication, citizenship, critical thinking, collaboration, and creativity, all within a district-wide one-to-one learning environment. Now, in our actions, we did have to make some adjustments due to 1 being deemed ineffective. And why an action is considered ineffective could be money was allocated but not spent. So in the case of our partnership with San Joaquin Delta College, which is our early college pathway for our high school, we had money set aside if students needed support buying books. And because the Delta College has gone to an online platform, that was no longer a barrier for students. So we rolled the partnership into comprehensive high school experience because we do still provide supports to students through counselors and teachers. The other action that we had to change has to do with the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant funds. As a part of spending those funds, we were required to have actions specific to that money. So the bottom 2 bullets, intervention and support and additional needs, are actions specific to spending that money only. Now, the intervention and support has to do with intervention teachers and attendance support for students to support a reduction in chronic absenteeism. Additional needs is money set aside for students who may experience homelessness and need some support financially for school supplies, food, etc. No other actions changed in Goal 1, so still progress, monitoring student progress through assessment, CTE classes, maintaining and hiring exceptional staff, student attendance, EL progress, strategic support, and so forth. There are no change to our metrics, but I highlighted 2 metrics that will be used to measure the LREBG actions, as well as what we currently do already in other parts of Goal 1, which is increasing student proficiency through evaluation of state local assessment data and increasing daily attendance and decreasing chronic absenteeism. Goal 2, instruction and curriculum efficacy, focuses on instructional leadership and teaching excellence in all classrooms through research-validated practices district-wide. There were no changes to our actions. It's focused still on professional development, implementing effective instructional practices, student and staff wellness, programs and services for unduplicated pupils and students with exceptional needs, as well as providing 21st century learning experiences. And the metrics also stayed the same, implementing Common Core state standards, decreasing suspension and expulsion rates, implementing PBIS, broad course of study, including Project Lead the Way and CTE, one-to-one Chromebooks, K-12, standard aligned digital tools, and appropriately credentialed teachers. And our last goal, Goal 3, 21st century outcomes and stakeholder communication, our focus on high quality education with positive parental or parent relationships, 21st century educational program, and a rapidly expanding student population. Actions, providing cutting edge technology, quality communications, communicating survey results, parent input and involvement, and parental participation of students with exceptional needs, English learners, foster, and low income. Metrics used to measure this action or this goal: surveys, parent engagement, involvement and communications, participation of focus groups, and our evaluation of our tech sustainability plan. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we are in year 2 of a 3-year LCAP. One of the main areas we do focus on for academics are our state CASP scores. So we look at prior year CASP scores and we compare current year to see not only overall, but where our subgroups fall. So these are our 2024 CASP scores. And very soon into the beginning part of the school year, we will be bringing 2025 CASP scores to report. As a part of the LCAP, we are required to report out on specific subgroups. For Lammersville, we are required to report out on Black, African American, Hispanic, English learners, socioeconomically disadvantaged, special education, and white. Now, our English learners will be broken out into 2 this year. You'll see that on the LCAP. There's LTEL and English learners, and LTEL are long-term English learners. And looking at our budget overview by goal, Goal 1, our budget to actual, we came in under budget due to some safety expenses that still have not been encumbered, and we over budgeted for substitutes for PD than what we actually spent. In Goal 2, our budget to actual, we also budgeted more than was spent, and this was again due to over budget of substitutes for walking and talking, and we budgeted for more student interns than we actually had. And then Goal 3, budget to actual, we did go over budget by about $20,000, and that was due to special education transportation costs. So the LCAP budget overview is a component of LCAP. It's required to the same adoption, review, approval, and posting requirements. It includes local control funding formula totals, funds to the district, and there is a narrative for budgeted expenditures not in the LCAP. We gathered feedback throughout the year from our educational partners regarding our LCAP. So you can see on the screen, not only were there school site meetings that were held, also any district parental committee that we took part in also was able to give feedback related to the LCAP. Any questions?
Just make the same similar comments from Monday night. One, thank you to the staff and your team for putting all the effort in to put this plan together and look at the results and take that into account and make modifications as needed. And then for the community, this is a really good document. It provides a blueprint for how we spend a lot of our money that we spend each year on an annual basis. So questions of, where does my money go and what are we prioritizing? This is a really good document to inform oneself on what those priorities are. So, but thank you again.
Thank you. And I'll thank Dr. Faubert, the lion's share of the work. And we also had Gloria Grijalva and Travis Manley and Irene Buzatil helping with it. So thank you.
I do have a request for the next one, which is the 2025 one. This document looks great, but my request would be when we are presenting the 2025 one, if we could have the 2024 results also along with the 2025, so we'll just be able to see a comparison visually. That'll be great.
So the current document starts with a base year and then year 1, year 2, year 3. So you see across the whole document, and the base year is the ending year from the previous LCAP. So it will have 4 years by the time it's done. If you look at the actual raw data, that's like 80 pages. That actual LCAP document has 4 years.
So I think, okay, let me just explain. So there were 3 bullet points that you mentioned for the 2024 CASP, which has the math, ELA, and science. So that's what I'm requesting for. I think it had a 72, 69, and I forgot the third one. So if we could have that data side by side, and because we are following a new LCAP plan, it would be great to visually see the improvement and what we need
Yep.
to.
Are you suggesting in the presentation?
Yes.
Yeah,
please.
okay.
Yeah.
So like in a little box, what it was the previous year?
Yep.
Okay.
Any.
Because I don't think they'll let her, you don't get off the tracks with the LCAP direction with the county and the state, correct?
Right. In August, I will have, so last year I had the up arrow. If we went up and I said what percent, I will have that new slide in August, but I absolutely, would you like me to have 24, 25, or 23, 24, 25, 3 years? Is that what you're asking for?
Just a comparison, just the overall.
So just a point of clarification, because I think it's great that the board can ask questions and get the information, but I'm a little concerned if we're sitting on, one board member on the dais is directing staff to do a presentation in a certain way. I mean, I think the information is great to ask for, but I mean, we are a whole board, and so I think asking for that stuff might require consensus. I don't know. I mean, just a point of clarification on that.
I agree. I don't have an issue with the request. The only thing I would change is the request should be in the form of asking the board for consensus to request that information be included in the future.
I hear you, and yes, absolutely, we could do that.
Are you clear on what the request is? First of all, because I'm a little confused. So I just want to make sure that you're clear on what
The way I
Because
understand
I
it,
see
is
the
in the
data.
Okay, let's go ahead.
Because I'm following the data in the LCAP, so I don't understand what the request is.
the way I understood it is just a trend line. So I took it as a graph that shows 4 years worth of science was at 68, then we went to 67,
And
69.
typically, we would get that information when the next set of numbers come out. Is that correct?
That's correct. I'll give the overall and I'll give the subgroups compared to county, state, overall district, and then our subgroups. And we'll get that for ELA, math, and science. And then we do ELA, math, and science up and down last year to this year.
So
And-
I'm comfortable with the way that we have been doing it. I'm cognizant of, I don't want anybody to do any extra work if we're getting the information already.
That's how I feel, because every year when we get the LCAP and then we get the CASP results, there is the side-by-side comparison when we get those results. So I'm comfortable with the status quo as well.
The one comment I'll make is I think this year's results, and this year meaning the most recent ones that we've seen, I think math went down by 1, right?
Those are
Technically-
last
0.8.
year's results.
Sorry, last year's results, 0.8.
0.8, yeah.
And again, I can't remember exactly how it was presented, but I think it would help because if you can see 4 years worth of graph, you would see it go up, 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 and then a little dip, right? If we just look at 1 year's comparison, we're going to see a dip, and we won't have the context of, hey, we're actually on a large upswing, and it's just a little bit of a jitter. So again, you may have already presented it that way, if I recall, but I think that's how I understood the ask, and I'm okay with that if that's easy to be done.
Okay, I'll just summarize my
Okay.
ask. I understand the trend line, but my ask is very simple. So if we go to that slide point where we had the math ELA, yeah, that's a great one. So what I'm requesting for, and it can be a consensus point, is that because we have started a new one, a new LCAP plan. So if we could have this, and probably the next slide with a 2025, 3 bullet points, just to see how well we are doing. Are there areas that we could improve on the bigger areas? And that's all my request was, so that we see that there is progress being made. And yes, we could go in for a consensus, but that's just, my request was for an extra PowerPoint.
Can I ask point of clarification? I believe we're in year 2 or sorry.
Year 2.
Year 2.
Year 2?
We are year
Okay.
2.
Right.
So I think this is a 3-year plan. We're in year 2 of it, right? Is that accurate? So I think
Correct.
So it's not a new one per se. It's just
Correct.
slightly modified.
It's a 3-year plan, but every year you adjust the plan based on effectiveness. So it's a new annual plan, but year 2 of our 3-year plan.
So just to take advantage of the scoreboard pointing opportunity, I'd like to point out in 12 years, the worst we've ever done is have the same number until the 0.8 drop in math in all categories every year. So we have had line graphs in previous incarnations of presentations. So the 0.8, the reason why she almost jumped over the podium in enthusiasm is because that's the first time. And again, as I've pointed out to the board, you can't just always keep going up. There is a natural ceiling, which we have reached. And so now we have to get into a different level of granular, nuanced educational and analysis and instruction, which we're doing. So last year, science was 59, ELA was 73, and math was 70 point something, but 0.8 higher. So, but we've had a nice 12-year trend, I can assure the board. But go ahead.
So I, as my role as a board member, I have the information I need. I don't want to see you do any extra work. I think that as a district, we're doing a good job. If there are any trends that are concerning, the district address those immediately. But if we want to get consensus on Trustee Daniel's request, I will put that out. I prefer not to have staff do extra work, but if we have 3, then we'll move forward with the ask.
I would prefer not to ask staff to do the extra work either, because I feel like the living document reflects the data, that I can see the data from year over year by reading the document, and I've never had a problem finding that.
If the ask is just to have last year's numbers on this particular slide, which I'm going to assume is Dr. Nicholas pull it up very, very quickly, are readily available, I'm okay with including that point.
I'm still stuck on the fact that in a couple of months, we will have these numbers and new numbers to compare them to. And I would be fine with adding the previous year, in other words, 23, 24, and 25 in that presentation so that we can see a 3-year trend at that time. But Dr. Nicholas just gave us the numbers from last year, and everything except math went up, and math was only slightly lower. So I think it's fine just to wait until we get the 25 CASP numbers and look at the data at that time.
And I'm fine with that once we get the new updated CASP numbers.
Agreed.
And can I just ask, is that how it was presented before already? Like, I feel like I've seen a trend line before. Am I making it up in my head?
Go ahead.
We've given numerous data presentations. So with LCAP, our big focus is really on how the subgroups are performing. And so that's what we highlight, because a part of LCAP is we are required to focus on students who, generally speaking, are underperforming. So that's where our focus is how not only, we can point to the scoreboard and say we're doing amazing 74% in ELA, but then we say, okay, 74% in ELA overall, now let's talk about our subgroups. And now let's get real with what are we doing to support our subgroups to close that opportunity gap.
Okay.
So that's really in this presentation, but we have given other data presentations that would give different focus area. But for this one specifically, it's really looking at how we're supporting our subgroups.
Okay.
Yes, and I thoroughly enjoyed that presentation too, because it just details out, and I'm all about numbers and data, and it just gives us a lot of information. I'm sure everyone as well as the community. So thank you for explaining.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So are you clear with the direction moving forward? Dr. Nicholas, do you have any questions?
Would you summarize, just for the record, what is the direction that you?
So my understanding is that when the new CASP numbers come out, we will compare 3 years of data, the new ones that come out, the current ones here, and then the previous year? Are we?
It might be a
in agreement with that?
side-by-side comparison because a line graph would look like a straight line. I mean,
Yeah,
it would be,
yeah.
it wouldn't really.
So-
But we can, a 3-year trend, that would, yeah.
So not adjusting these slides, but when they
Correct.
pass, okay.
I like the 3-year trend. Great suggestion.
Thank you.
And if I could make the motion then? And-
Oh, yes, yeah, thank you very much, Assistant Superintendent Sharp. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay, so yes. Go ahead, Trustee Olson.
Yeah, I will move to approve the 2025-2026 Local Control Accountability Plan.
Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Olson and a second by Trustee Pombo, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with 5 ayes and no noes. Item B, consider approval of the 2025-2026 Local Control Accountability Plan, the LCAP Federal Addendum. Staff report, please.
Yes, the state has found that the LCAP is an opportunity for them to give us more direction. B and C are 2 examples of that. Last year, the state asked us to pull the federal addendum out of the LCAP and have it be a standalone approval. And this year, because that last year's wasn't enough, they also asked C, the self-reflection, to be pulled out as a standalone as well. So B and C, the staff report is the same, that these are new state directions to be pulled out of the LCAP and stand alone with board approval.
Thank you. Any clarifying questions from the board?
Not exactly a question, but a comment. I noticed in going through the federal addendum that there is a section on page 10 that lists number of ineffective teachers. And on page 11, it explains what an ineffective teacher is. And that's an individual whose assignment is legally authorized by an emergency permit and does not require possession of a full teaching license, or a teacher who holds a teaching credential but does not possess a permit or authorization that temporarily allows them to teach outside their credentialed area, or an individual who holds no credential, permit, or authorization to teach in California. And my only point in bringing all this up is that it's, in my opinion, another instance of the government, in this case, the federal government, using stupid words that don't fit reality, because it has nothing to do with whether a teacher is effective or ineffective. It has to do with what their credentialing is. And I don't like that, among many other things in these reports.
Trustee Pombo, I would absolutely agree with you, because as one who was a highly ineffective teacher when I had my emergency credential, I really disliked being categorized that way.
And it doesn't also reflect that there's a nationwide teacher shortage, and that is especially true in California. And so PIPs and STIPs and probe zeros, and actually we have something on the agenda which expands our ability to hire. Hiring people is a priority. You have to have people in the classroom. So staff appreciates the comments.
Anyway, this lists campuses that have relatively high percentages of what they call ineffective teachers, and I don't believe that we have campuses with any ineffective teachers, let alone a high percentage of ineffective teachers. And with that, I will move to approve the 2025-2026 Local Control Accountability Plan Federal Addendum.
Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Pombo and a second by Trustee Modi, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with 5 ayes and no noes. Item C, consider approval of the 2025 local indicators, self-reflection of 2024-25 indicators. We had our staff report. Are there any clarifying questions?
I do have one question. It's on page 4, and I apologize for just catching this now. There's one part of it that's blank. Is that not required? It's got the total teaching FTE, clear, out of field, intern. Are those numbers not required?
I like to point at the scoreboard on the numbers I know. On this one, I'm going to have to look to Assistant Superintendent Sharp. And then the last time, is that a paper copy? And
is, no,
it-
it's
no,
it's from
okay,
the,
okay,
so
so-
I don't even need an explanation. It's just for staff, and if the rest of the board consensus, just to review it, make sure if it needs to be filled out, it gets filled out and submit. I don't think it's a point of discussion.
And it
on
was page 104?
Page four.
Page
20.
4.
Yeah. So it might just be an oversight. Maybe it's not needed. I'm not sure.
It might be an area where the state's going to ask us to pull it out and have it be a standalone board vote next year.
Maybe.
Thank you, Trustee
It does
Modi.
have it has the same categories that Trustee Pombo was just referring to, so it might be easy. But the only comment I'll make on both these forms is I think this is a really good example of just a lot of bureaucratic requirements that require effort to fill out and pull together, and I don't know if this adds a ton of value to providing a solid education and a safe education for our students. So thank you to staff, obviously, for meeting all these requirements. But it's just a comment that I think, just another onerous requirement that I think the government has in this area.
And I would just like to comment that CSBA has been fighting very hard to get the state to lessen the onerous amount of reports that are required of local education agencies because they are ridiculous. Some of the reports, it's the same information over and over and over. And I'm convinced that the majority of the reports end up in a file somewhere that nobody ever sees.
And just to value add to that, I would like to say, like, with a very small staff compared to other districts, our district carries that load of bureaucratic, extra, stuff that they have to do on top of giving top-notch, high-quality education to our students and doing the actual work that impacts kids. And so we're very fortunate that we have the caliber of people we have here, and they work very hard because other districts have a bigger staffs that do this stuff.
Move to approve the 2025 local indicator self-reflection of 2024-2025 indicators.
Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Pombo and a second by Trustee Olson, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with 5 ayes and no nos. Item D, consider approval of Governing Board Resolution Number 24-25-23 to adopt professional experience qualifications to teach transitional kindergarten for the 2025-2026 school year. Staff report.
Yes, this resolution essentially expands a definition that will allow us to have additional opportunities to have people teach TK.
Any clarifying questions from the board?
Move to approve.
Sorry, can I ask one?
Sorry.
I'm going to ask discussion, I guess, with the board. To the point of the teacher shortage, right? And would it give our staff or our district additional flexibility? So the law allows you to also allow a year of early childhood education. And we've got several Montessori preschools in our area. Would it help to have the resolution also allow for that experience to count as well?
I would have to lean on Director Barrios in terms of I think there's 4 regulations that the state mandates we have to follow, and I don't know if that falls within it. I would be, with board consensus, happy to have us look into that. Sir, can you value add on this? At the podium where we can hear you?
Oh, sorry. Was yours on?
So the TK credential actually has, teachers have to have both the multiple subject and they have to have the 24 ECE units. So we actually don't have challenges finding teachers that have the 24 ECE units. Of the 3 teachers that we hired this year, they have all come from the preschool setting and they're on an emergency credential to earn their multiple subject credential. So what this allows is a teacher that has a multiple subject who has previous TK experience to continue teaching pre-K or TK.
Got it. Would we ever want someone who's got multiple subjects and only early childhood teaching experience to qualify, or would that not meet our standards?
We would look at all of the qualifications that the teacher had. So if they have the bachelor's degree, if they have the units, and if they have interest in earning a multiple subject credential, it could be something that we consider in the future. This will meet this immediate need, and we could consider that in the future.
Okay. So your suggestion would be done, staff will just come back if we need to make that change?
Correct.
Is that right? Okay, that's fine. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Move to approve Governing Board Resolution number 242523 to adopt professional experience qualifications to teach transitional kindergarten for the 2025-2026 school year.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Daniel and a second by trustee Modi, this is a roll call vote.
Lisa Boulay,
Aye.
Benita Daniel,
Aye.
Sammy Modi,
Aye.
Stephanie Olson,
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye.
Motion carries with 5 ayes and no nos. Item E, consider approval of the 25-26 July 1st budget financial report. Staff report.
Yeah, we want to acknowledge the hard work of Assistant Superintendent Grijalva and Director Alvina Kaiser and their team. This is the budget. Money makes the world go round, and we're no different, and we recommend approval from the board.
Are there any clarifying questions from the board?
I will move to approve of the 2025-2026 July 1st budget financial report with much gratitude to the hard work that goes behind keeping us so fiscally sound.
I'd like to second that, thanking the team. Thank you.
Based on a motion by trustee Olson and a second by trustee Daniel, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries with 5 ayes and no nos. Item F, consider approval of Governing Board Resolution 24-25-24 regarding the 2025-2026 Education Protection Account. Staff report?
Yeah, so right about the time local control was given to the school districts by Governor Brown with the LCFF and the original incarnation of LCAP, there were serious fiscal issues going on in this nation and in this state. So a tax was put forward called Prop 30, which raised taxes. And it had a sunset date, I want to say, in 2016 or 2018. And in that year, so that first initiative was called Prop 30. When it sunset, a new initiative came forward to extend the tax to 2031, and that was called Prop 55. So that's extra money the school district gets through the state because of that voter-approved tax increase. And so this EPA account is essentially saying we're following the rules, and we need to do this per regulation.
Thank you. Any clarifying questions?
Move to approve of Governing Board Resolution 242524 regarding the 2025-2026 Education Protection Account.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Pombo and a second by trustee Olson, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion,
Oh, it's a.
oh, sorry, yes,
Yeah.
yes. This is a roll call vote. Thank you.
Lisa Boulay,
Aye.
Benita Daniel,
Aye.
Sammy Modi,
Aye.
Stephanie Olson,
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye.
Motion carries with 5 ayes and no nos. Item G, consider approval of a 5-year contract renewal with Quaver Music for grades TK through 4 for school years 2025 through 2030. Total cost $62,790. Staff report, please.
Yes, this is a teacher recommended music curriculum, and we recommend approval. Once the board wrote approval, we'll work forward through the contract, which would allow the district in any of these out years, if we're not happy with the services, to give them notice and drop the contract.
Thank you. Any clarifying questions from the board?
Not a question, but I'll make a comment. Right, I have 2 kids that are within this TK to 4. They use this program. They enjoy it, and they love it. When I saw this on the agenda, I went and looked at the website for this vendor and tried to understand a little bit more about it. And the passion that the founders have for music, what I love about music and arts is the people who do initiatives in those areas don't do it to get rich, right? They do it because they have a really strong desire and just love for that type of, and that goes for a lot of our education community as well. But I think arts is a specific area where it doesn't get a lot of attention. And so I'm enthusiastically in support of continuing the funding for this program.
Trustee Modi, just to value add to that, I remember during COVID when my little one was like in first grade and using the Quaver online was one of the highlights of her educational day. Yeah, so.
And with that, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve the 5-year contract renewal with Quaver Music for grades TK through 4 for school years 2025 through 2030 at a total cost of $62,790.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Modi and a second by trustee Daniel, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with 5 ayes and no nos. Item H, consider approval of school facilities impact mitigation agreement with Tri-Point Homes Holdings Incorporated. Staff report, please.
Yes, so College Park is unique amongst the experience here in the unique place called Mountain House. The reason is it's not being run by one master developer. Instead, there are multiple developers of multiple sized projects from 286 units all the way down to 5 and 61. This particular agreement is related specifically to what's called A7. It's a portion of the west part of College Park, neighborhood A. If you go south on Central, it's right past the drainage ditch, and it goes back in there. This is important for two reasons. One, the district is having to negotiate with every builder, every developer in College Park, as opposed to having one agreement that's spread out amongst them. That has made a significantly more complicated situation. However, through the spirit of the board and the district's determination, we are utilizing this unique circumstance to get more money. And so this particular agreement is a mitigation agreement that it follows a very similar set of rules that were established in '98 and amended 6 times since then. What's important here is they agree to pay an additional $400 of Mello-Roos fees, which garners the money that we need to assist in the construction costs of Costa, recouping what the district put in. And secondarily, a new thing we've added, and this is important because there are 4 or 5 additional projects that are not annexed into the CFD who have to get our permission to annex into the CFD to get permits to build homes. And we are going to apply this model that the board approves tonight. And it's also our first foray into saying, if there were supposed to be 2,400 high school students at Mountain House High School, and the developers were wrong, then any of these businesses or builders or developers that are coming in outside of what has already been approved, they're going to have to pony up more money. And so this also allows us to ask them for $3,000 per unit, which will raise a nominal amount of money, approximately $2 million when spread out over the projects that will be built, but every dollar counts. And we have 19 acres to put in fields, and that $2 million will eventually be applied to probably pay ourselves back for the money we invest to get the fields in earlier. So we're proud of this effort. It has been a long road, but this mitigation agreement will be applied to additional projects coming down the pike in the next short term to 5 years out.
And Dr. Nicholas, I would like to acknowledge your hard work and your dedication and your persistence and your continuous follow-up and your attention to detail with this, because I know this has been going on for a very, very long time. So kudos. Thank you very much. Any clarifying questions from the board?
No, I just echo those comments. I have tried to study this topic and learn about it. And, I've probably learned a lot, but that's probably 2% of what you probably know in dealing with this for the last decade plus that you've been in your role. So thank you for all the hard work. Thanks for making the recommendations that you do and answering our questions.
Dr. Nicholas, I just have one question. How much of this stuff did you know when you were hired?
I knew what the word mitigation meant, and I knew what the word agreement meant. And the funny story is that when I got here, I was all enthusiastic. I mean, imagine me at 46. And I read them, and I read them like a book. And I knew every word that I read, and I retained it in the sense that I had read it. And until you're in a fight, and then you realize my weapons are the words in this document, that it has genuine meaning. And so over time, I've had the blessing of being able to go to the mitigation agreement and use those words to our advantage most of the time.
Yeah, and I just asked that question to point out that, when you were hired here, you came to Lammersville thinking you were going to just be this outstanding, which you already are and still are, curriculum leader, but you have become an outstanding school builder, and so I echo the comments of the board. Very appreciated the work that you do on behalf of the
We got a
community.
good team out there.
And I would just like to say that there were times in those early days that Dr. Nicholas did look a bit like a deer in the headlights.
Dr. One question, and this is more for the community. These mitigation agreements are good to do because they then alleviate the burden off of current homeowners. Is that an accurate way to portray if we needed to expand the school or build additional facilities, or do I have that wrong?
Yeah, it's a good question. This locks in what they have to pay. We keep asking them to pay more because the cost of building schools has gotten so high. So it really gives us rules of engagement with the developers and the builders. So someone can't come back and say, we can't come back and say, oh, but you have to build us a second gym. And they can't come back and say, we don't.
Right.
You know, but it protects the homeowners in that they know what they're going to have to pay.
But a naive school district could have less requests of these certificate of compliance or in these mitigation agreements. So we could get less, right?
Correct. What I can say is it took a long time to move the ship to get to where the certificate of compliance was in front of us and not behind us. So often, in my experience, the houses were being built, the school had to be built, and the certificate of compliance didn't have its weight because you can't hold permits if the houses are built. And so we ended up having to do other creative means to get schools built. And Hanson and Cordes are examples. So we now have the certificate of compliance, our only bullet before every project now. That took some time. This board and other boards past made a lot of really smart decisions. It gave very smart direction so that we can get there. But for right now, we're in the best position we've been.
Great. Thank you so much.
I will move to consider approval of school facilities impact mitigation agreement with Tri Point Homes Holdings Incorporated.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Olson and a second by trustee Daniel, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with 5 ayes and no noes. Item I, consider approval of Governing Board Resolution 24-25-25, determining that property is annexed to Lammersville Joint Unified School District Community Facilities District number 2019-1, Mountain House School Facilities, directing recordation of a notice of the annexation and a map of the annexation, and approving a related deposit and reimbursement agreement. Staff report, please.
First of all, that was written by a lawyer. I don't know if anybody understood that. Second of all, in order to be in the CFD, the board has to annex or make part of the CFD this project. We've had a big discussion already on it. This officially puts them in. It's also an example of a leverage point we have to hold over a builder or developer with these other projects. But we recommend strongly to approve.
Move to approve of Governing Board Resolution 24-25-25, determining that property is annexed to the Lammersville Joint Unified School District Community Facilities District number 2019-1, Mountain House School Facilities, directing recordation of a notice of the annexation and a map of the annexation, and approving a related deposit and reimbursement agreement.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Pombo and a second by trustee Olson, this is a roll call vote, please.
Lisa Boulay,
Aye.
Benita Daniel,
Aye.
Samik Modi,
Aye.
Stephanie Olson,
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye.
Motion carries with 5 ayes and no noes. Item J was removed, so we'll move to item 11, information and discussion items. Item A, portable classrooms, Mountain House High School, 3-year lease. Staff report.
Yeah, so it's time for a discussion about the portables at the high school. So I don't know, about a year and a half ago, I made a presentation or extemporaneous statement here from the dais about the portables. We brought in 8 of them were to protect the 7-period day. And just for context, to remind everyone, in order to graduate every high school student, Mountain House High School only has to offer 6 classes. But we built a program, Mr. Faubert played a big role in that, of 7 periods because of the academic passion and experiential passion of our parents. And by creating a 7-period day, it allows students to take an additional class. The 7-period day eats up about 7 or 8 classrooms, and about, I think it was 69% of our students take advantage of the 7-period day. So as we were looking at the scale of the number of students at the high school, and we built it for 2,400, and we built a 7-period day, we had to deal with the fact that to protect that, we needed to bring in portables. So we brought them in temporarily on a 3-year lease. And we're finishing the second year of that lease. And so we have a year left. But if we're going to keep them on the high school campus for a temporary period, which I'm recommending, we need to, in the next year, make some decisions. So that's why I'm bringing it forward as an information and discussion. So number one, the cost of leasing the portables is about $100,000 a year. The cost of purchasing the portables is $715,000. I believe that's the accurate number. We are not recommending a permanent placement of portables at the high school, but we are want the board to consider purchasing the portables for use at other school sites. So in the short term, keep them there to protect the 7-period day and other academic programs. But in the future, they might be a means to replace portables out at Lammersville Elementary School, which are significantly older. Where's Alvina? She would know. Alvina, they're in the 25-year range. So, and these are not. So I'm not asking for an approval. I'm asking for a discussion or the board's thoughts. In 7 years at $100,000 lease, we spend $700,000. If we buy them, we spend $715,000, and we have them, and we can use them for a number of different things. We will have to, when we get past the 3-year lease, do a $100,000 project on. They have to have sprinklers after 3 years because of a state regulation. So that would be another included in this consideration. But we are not recommending permanent placement of portables at the high school, but we are recommending continuing them at the high school. And if we purchase them, we have flexibility for their use once we determine future projects at the high school and the need for portables or not.
And Dr. Nicholas, if we purchase them and then like 3-4 years later, we realize we don't need them by some miraculous thing, we could sell them. Or no? Could we?
Yes.
We could sell them. Okay, so we could get some of our money back if we didn't need them. But if we do need them, and we need them beyond 7 years, then purchasing them seems like the smarter way to go.
So with the school year coming up and our 2 additional classroom buildings opening, will we be using those portables at all, or just some of them, or?
Yeah, so let me, Thor was a high school principal, as was Sarah, and Ben. So look at the smirks on their face. That says that you give them space, they use it.
Okay.
So that doesn't mean it's just the nature of the beast. In fact, they sometimes look, if you catch them with a shovel in their hand, they're probably digging a hole for more space. So yes.
Okay.
But you can constrict that as well. And so as the school grows, there's real room for growth. But if there's a idle classroom, I have no doubt that there will be someone who finds a reason to be in there.
Okay, so a follow-up question. So then we'll finish this 3-year lease, but sometime within the next 12 months, decide what we're going to do. And is that
Correct.
a good summary? Okay,
Correct.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to add that I believe that, I mean, I don't know what the other board members think, but for me, I'm always going to support maintaining that 7-period day. The numbers and percentages of kids that take advantage of that shows that the community values that. But also, thinking of you said 69% of the students take advantage of it. So there's 31% of our students who maybe they don't take advantage of taking 7 periods, but they have the opportunity to have a flex period. And for some students, thinking of being a special ed teacher, and sometimes students need a break. And for a student to be able to have like a break in between 3 periods and to have a flex and then go to class again, or, I don't know how they work that out, but it just seems like it benefits not just the students that actually take 7 periods, but it benefits our students that need those breaks or need different kind of academic schedule. And so I whatever we can do to maintain the 7-period day is what I support.
I would just like to start out by saying I hate portables. I don't like the way they look. I don't like the idea of portables. That said, sometimes they are a necessary evil, and they are on the high school campus. They are being utilized. As was mentioned, they will continue to be utilized into the future. And I don't think we can let go of them until we're absolutely certain that we don't have a use for them. So I would be in favor of purchasing them and figuring out what we do with them later.
We're not voting today, right? So
No.
just
No.
okay. So I'll just these are questions I guess that maybe staff could come back with more information on, and if it's not available now. Does our lease that we pay, does that include them moving it or removing it for us?
Well, we paid them already. We paid them up front to move them in.
Okay.
So that's done. So that money's gone.
Okay.
If we had to move them, we'd have to, either them or another company would have to move them for us.
Okay.
Is that what you're asking?
For an additional fee, though.
Correct.
For an additional fee. Okay. And so anytime we want to move these in the future, we gotta pay, whether we own them or rent them. That's basically what I'm getting at.
In recollection, it's 65 grand. Does that sound familiar? Okay, don't.
Fine.
That
Sure.
seemed like a right number.
Okay.
I'm 58, so that could just be a false memory.
But either way, we got to pay the same amount of money. So that's not really a consideration.
Correct.
Whether we own or lease. Okay. Do we know what lifespan these are? Again, maybe you don't know. Maybe come back with it. It's fine.
There's an oxymoron in the term portables that stay at school sites until their shelf life is up. But I believe it's 25 to 30 years.
Okay. And then this, if we bought them, are we buying the ones we have?
Correct.
Or would we buy a different, new ones, I guess?
No, because we'd have to pay
have to pay
again that
$65,000.
additional to move those out and to bring them in. So yeah, it would be those.
Yeah, I do.
And I'm guessing purchasing new ones, aside from the move in and move out, they'd be much more expensive than purchasing the ones that we have that are used that we've
Correct.
been
And
paying.
we'd have to put in sprinklers.
Is there a, I'm just curious, is the 715,000, if we were to buy new off the market for a different site and not the ones we have, is the cost about the same, or is the 715 reflective of almost like a lease to own?
You know, I don't know
Discount.
the answer to that. I know we asked them what these would cost, and
Okay.
715 came back.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think in general, 100% agree with the other board members that 7 periods in a day is excellent. As you said, that I counted what my high school schedule was when I was growing up, and I counted 6, right? So we only had 6 as an option growing up, and that took us to the 9th period. So I think anything that gives us the flexibility to continue to support that. I don't think, and I know there's a lot of community concern around capacity at the high school and the growth that we're seeing with the additional rezoned properties that will generate more students for our district. So I don't see a future where we're going to end up with empty portables sitting and rotting away. And it might even be where they're, reused at one of the sites north of Byron, while the next school is not yet built and growth. So I think with the growing community we have, we're always going to have probably a need for space. So I think the flexibility, at least for the next 7 years for your break-even point, makes sense to own it. But so that's my thought.
So I would like to, I read the discussion points and also heard your explanation. So I'm in support of district's recommendation. I also had the question that Trustee Modi asked, but you already answered whether we were going to use the existing ones or are we going to purchase new ones. But I do have this question, and maybe it's not yet planned, but the question I would like to ask is, have we thought about where we are going to purchase it from? Have we already thought about the company, or are we going to after this?
So if we bring forward a recommendation to purchase, it'll be the ones that we have on site now, and we'll buy it. I don't know the name of the company, but we would do it directly with them. So they would just sit there, and then we just own them, and we'd get the pink slip, basically.
So we'll continue with the same company and continue the contract.
Correct. So until we purchase them, it'll be a lease, and then we'll probably do, if it extends out beyond the 3 years and we want to stay with the lease, we could do an additional 3 year or do a year to year to year in a lease.
Great. And
Do you-
I just wanted to end by saying I'm totally in support of district's recommendation. Thank you.
Basically, it would be the same thing as I'm sure a lot of people have done. You lease a car for 3 years. At the end, you decide, I like this car, I'm going to buy it.
And,
Yeah.
and the DSA approvals, what do they have to approve for us to purchase these? It seems like another bureaucratic layer, but
It is. They need to make sure that we don't do anything stupid with the sprinklers, I guess. When you really think about it, somebody did something long ago that was out of queue and somebody got hurt or something got broke. And so then there became a regulation. So if you think about that over time, so yes.
Can I ask one last question? Sorry, did you have?
I was just going to say, or someone in their wisdom thought, something could go wrong, so we need to inspect this.
The last point on here says funded through developer fees. If you could just comment on that. And then also, if you don't know and come back with, I'm assuming we capitalize this $700,000. Do we know how many years that depreciation is over? Is it the 20 years, 25 years, or is it a shorter lifespan?
I don't know the answer to the second one. I haven't done the math. The first one is every time a new monster warehouse goes up south of 205, we collect developer fees. And so the developer fees come, I think it's 36 cents a square foot. It's a really tiny number, but when you put 1 million square feet of warehouse in, it generates a large number. So we collect that, and then this is one of the ways we can spend that money. And so the developer fees for I think it was a Prologis monster warehouse, it would be where the funding would come.
So then this would not affect our budget. Is that fair
Would
to
not
say?
affect our general fund.
General fund. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments from the board?
All right.
Item B, board governance handbook update.
Yes, we had a board handbook review workshop, and there were a number of items where some wordsmithing was done. I made those amendments and gave it to the board, and we're just recommending the board say, this is what it is, and we'll formalize it and get it out of the red and blue and present it to the board.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board?
No, I just appreciate the engagement. It was my first one, right? So I appreciate the engagement, the frank conversations. We went way over what we thought the discussion would be, and to me that's a good sign of a healthy operating board. So I just want to thank the fellow board members as well as Dr. Nicholas for helping lead us through that.
I concur.
I agree as well.
yeah,
And I think it's a good practice to do this, possibly even every year, to make sure that we're all on the same page, that we're all on track, and if there's any changing trends in education or what we're doing, that they can be addressed in the handbook. Thank you so much for making those changes, and I feel like you did a great job capturing our discussion.
yeah, agreed.
Okay, item 12, calendar. Item A, Wednesday, July 16th is the next governing board meeting at 7 o'clock here in the district office boardroom. And in a moment, we'll be adjourning to closed session where we will discuss item A, public employee discipline dismissal release complaint, Government Code Section 54957, and item B, conference with real property negotiators, Government Code Section 54956.8. I will take a motion to, did I miss something?
No.
I usually don't.
Fine. Move to adjourn.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Pombo and a second by trustee Olson, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with 5 ayes and no noes. We are now adjourned at 8:19 PM. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.